All right, and we are back. How the hair are you? We are here with a very talented, as far as skilled, and also knowledgeable cosmetologist. Her name is Miss Maryam, and she is my co-host today. So we were talking before in the other segment about women really not feeling like they have a lot of choices when they are with a cosmetologist who is not really doing them right and they know it.
Yes.
And it's interesting because I actually have more people who come to me who are seeing a cosmetologist, a licensed stylist, and their stylist, just to put it in layman's terms, they are jacking their hair up.
Absolutely.
And as they tell me about all the problems that they're having, I'm sitting there listening and thinking, oh my God, they are definitely with the wrong person. I got to get this person in the right hands. So here in Chicagoland, I'm very fortunate that I know a lot of very talented stylists, because I'll go and sit in someone's chair and see, if they are talking the right stuff. I actually personally use myself as a guinea pig. I'll go and get my hair done, and there have been some people that I was like, I would never recommend someone to go to this particular person, but I've been very fortunate that I have to say maybe that's been 2 people. But for the most part, I've been able to, I guess you could say, vet some stylists to make sure that I can recommend someone to go and see someone who I know is going to treat them right. But there are a number of people who come to me for help, and they know that their hair is not the way that it should be. So it's like they need confirmation.
Yes.
And what they will do is they'll send me their hair fibers, and I'll test them. I'll test their hair fibers. And depending upon what they say is going on with them, sometimes I'll have them give me the hair by cutting some samples, and you don't need very many. But I need enough to analyze so I can see what the quality of your hair is at that time. But if I get enough of the root where there's some new growth, then I'm able to see what really is the inherent, or what biologically, what is actually the health of your hair.
Right.
So you have what has been done towards the ends or the tips of the hair, because it's experienced everything from weathering, styling, treatments, processes, everything. But then your root hasn't experienced that much, so I can see what's going on. And almost every time there is really a problem with the stylist just not doing what they're supposed to do. So I say all that to say what you do is just very important. But you've heard a lot of stories. Can you talk about how many times people have bounced around until they finally found you?
Oh my God. That's the story of my career, is that sometimes at first I used to think there's just some jacked up, you've been to some jacked up hairstylists. I used to have that attitude, just like most consumers may have, like, she jacked me up is what you often hear. But becoming an educator made me see things differently. It's because sometimes the stylist just doesn't know what else to do. They get into a routine, and because they have maybe beautiful work, like my thing is there's a lot of hairstylists with talent. They're creatively gifted, and they can make you look a certain way, but they have little knowledge on how the hair actually is. What's the effects of the things that they're actually putting on the hair, and why it's acting like that, because sometimes they are in the business of making money. But the average client today, especially if they come to you, just for example, every 2 weeks, the first week they're really happy with their hairstyle, getting all kinds of compliments. But the second week, maybe they choose to wash their hair themselves and realize that it's not, why is it not doing this? Why is it not acting like she had it?
You raise a good point. But
yes,
go. Because, and I don't, so we're not going to name names.
Of course, let's not.
So there was someone that I was admiring, and I was saying I loved her hair color. And I thought it was absolutely beautiful. It was very becoming. It was multicolored, so you know who I'm talking about.
Yes.
And so you shared a story with me that you actually had to resurrect her hair. So even though it looked great, I mean, because it was beautiful. It was so nice. But in actuality, the hair was actually compromised.
So let's use a hypothetical. Like, just say we didn't know each other, and you called me, got my phone number or whatever, based on that same client that you saw, right? And then I got to doing your hair, and you're like, I want it exactly like that. Just say that's what you said to me. And so when I do it, and then now you get home and you realize that, oh, this is not what it looked like. It was kind of like you will never come back to me. You know what I mean? You're going to notice that it's wrong. She noticed that it was wrong. It was all done wrong, but she kept getting massive compliments on it. But she's the one who's going to part her hair. She's the one that's going to do the in-between maintenance. And this is a person, guys, who comes to the salon for chemical treatment. She pretty much maintains her own hair on her own. So stylists out there, don't be fooled and feeling like you can camouflage your life away. That's going to ruin your career, because the person who's going to continue to come to you and is going to keep your book full is the person that they can trust that you're going to do their hair and do it right, not just for the moment, you know, an event or whatever. This particular person, when I went through her hair, she had color, by the way, and like she said, it was a multi-array of colors. Her outer layer of her hair, because she has a bob haircut, all you saw is the outer part, but once you parted it, you seen all kinds of blotchy spots, and it was discolored. So she was in the perfect client for a corrective color job, which cost way more than the price that she paid for the initial color job. So it's kind of like, do your homework before you choose a hairstylist, and that's why if a person does not give you a thorough consultation before they start to put chemicals in your hair, run. Because it's a risk to me, the type of stylist I am, it's a risk for me if you say you want color that day and I do it and I don't know anything about your hair. That's a big risk for the both of us, you know, and I don't want to get a client in the door just to lose them. I want you to want to come back, you know. So
I did get a message on Facebook from my mother-in-law, and she actually said you can share her story.
Oh my God! Thank you, thank you so much.
She's listening, so you can share her story. But I think it's, excuse me, a worthy story to tell, because she's not the only one who has experienced what she went through. So can you kind of give a little? Well, you know what? I'll start off. I'll give a little bit of the history. So there are, what we were describing in the other segment, there are some people who really don't feel like they have a choice. And they are so unhappy with their hair that they feel that they have to hide their hair underneath, you know, some type of hair prosthetic, where it be either a wig or a weave or a variety of the two. And so when I met Maryam and I started hearing about, you know, how she really works with people to really make them kind of come out of their shell.
Right.
Because it really, if you're self-conscious about your appearance, or, you know, your hair not being the way we want it to be, because in all honesty, hair is very emotional.
It is. I
agree. Are very emotional about our hair.
As a stylist, I am. So it's nobody's exempt from that feeling.
Right. So she's just like anybody else, very emotional about her hair in terms of wanting it to look good and to present herself very well, because she's very active in the community and she wants to look a certain way. And so I introduced her to you, and you were able to transition her out of the hair prosthetics. So can you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, if I could use a little humor, thank you so much for letting me talk about this story, because every story is unique, first of all. Now, I talked to Miss Porter before the holidays came, and I could tell just by her conversation that she really wanted something different, and she was straddling the fence of being a believer that it could be different, right? And so we had an over-the-phone extensive consultation about it, and she made a few appointments, but still was hesitant because she used I think the wigs, sometimes it's like a crutch, like it's a safety net, if you will. And so she was like, well, no, these events are coming up and I'm not sure how it'll turn out. So let me go ahead and hold off till I don't have anything planned, just in case, you know, it doesn't work out right. I can go back to my wigs or whatever. At least people are used to seeing me looking like this. Now, that said a lot to me. It said, first of all, you don't like the way your own hair looks, and you feel like it probably won't last if you was to wear it. So I had a lot of data off of this one individual before I even met her, right? So mentally, I'm preparing myself to embrace everything that she's going through. And so I say this to a lot of clients, it's never as bad as you think. You're only used to what you see, right? And so she did come in, she made the appointment, we scheduled it, and it was so funny. The first time that she was supposed to come in, there was a gas leak at the salon. So we couldn't even do it that day.
Oh, gosh.
And so in the back of my mind, because my sense of humor is kind of, you know, I was like, she probably was like, hallelujah, I got another week to wear my wig. Like, I don't have to do this. Because I felt like she felt like no matter what I did, it wasn't going to last. So fast forward, we actually scheduled for that Tuesday coming up. And she came in and she told me her story again. And she was like, well, whatever you do, you see this wig, I know how to put it back on, basically. And she was one of those people who had longer length, but it was thin and fine, so she felt like it couldn't do anything. So got into her hair, and as I'm doing her hair, stylists and clients, I'm talking to her through the process. Sometimes the person that is attached to their hair emotionally, they feel like their appearance won't be as nice as if they had something that's not theirs on. You know, it's kind of like they're struggling with this already, whether they say it or not. I'm talking to her, and I'm making her more comfortable with the whole process, in that, you know, and I'm reassuring her through the process because I care about her caring about her hair, and I want her to think differently so she can get different results, right? And so when I'm doing her hair, after a while, she relaxed. I could tell she was more relaxed, reluctantly relaxed. And so I did shape her hair up, and I taught her not only that she didn't need to pile all these products in, which we're going to talk about the natural hair movement in a minute, but she doesn't need all those products. It was making her hair look thinner. And that was like a light bulb moment for her and I, because I think she was just so used to being in habit, and her previous stylist didn't say anything about this grease that she was putting in her already fine hair.
But let's talk about the previous stylist. I mean, not bad.
Right.
But there are just some stylists who are not diverse, or they have not diversified their products and to actually experiment to see what will work with certain types of hair. So sometimes if you're just a creature of habit, and you think that your client likes a certain look, you're going to continue to give that type of service. And so there are just some stylists who are just into that type of routine.
Yeah, and that's true. They're into the routine. It's one thing for the client to be into routine, but we can't be in routine because women change all the time.
But it could be a little bit of both.
Yeah.
It could be that this is all I think my hair can do.
Yes.
So this is what I'm accepting.
That's true. That's real true.
Then the cosmetologist will feel, well, this is what this client likes, so this is what I'm going to continue to do.
And it goes back to the hairstylists that I educate. They aren't educated, and so it's not like that's a pass for them, but they just don't know better. So they don't know how to do better and introduce new things to the client where they're comfortable with trying it. Because I know I can tell you right now, Crystal, you should be blonde this summer. It's like blonde. This is an example. Okay. If I told you that, it's like you're going to be like, no, I don't want to be blonde. But I can be just trying to persuade you to feel like I know best. And so the client feels like as long as she's a stylist, so maybe she does know best, and just allow me to do that. But you're miserable, though. And so that was the experience, I think, similar that I had. She didn't want to go blonde, people. But just cutting it, eliminating the overload of the product, and actually maintaining her hair when she left the salon is what I taught her. How to pin curl her hair, or even try rollers without putting the product in, at least for 2 weeks until you see me. So my thing is when I put product in your hair, it's usually enough. You don't have to put more in it, especially if it's fine hair. Over the years, I just learned that less is best, and your hair, not only is it allowed to breathe because it's not clogged up with all this stuff, that it moves. Everybody wants their hair to actually move and be noticed. And this client that I'm telling you guys about, she said when she went to church, people noticed her hair. Like, they noticed it and said that they didn't think she even had any hair. That's how much she was wearing the wigs. So the previous stylist, I won't say that she was misleading her, but she was allowing the client to tell her instead of her being the one professional in that field to educate the client.
But you have to understand, not everyone educates themselves to the same degree.
I understand.
Or not every stylist has the same talent
It's
to
true.
be able to work with hair in different ways either.
That's why I'm in business.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I'm in business today.
Right. So there are, and not to say that this stylist can't be the right one for someone else.
Right.
Because to me, it's almost kind of like marriage. There's someone for everyone.
And that's why you see a salon on every corner. That's why.
Yes.
It's true.
Yeah, so not to say that that routine that she had wouldn't necessarily make someone happy with dealing with their hair.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that if you want something different, then you do have to seek other alternatives. But we are creatures of habit, and sometimes we just like to be comfortable.
Yeah, but by her not wearing the wigs anymore and actually living it out, like I'm embracing it, sort of. I still feel like we have work to do, but for her to actually come from feeling like she couldn't to now proudly, wearing it, to me, that's what I get from being a stylist. That's my gratification, is that I've moved someone's once stuck mentality to something that's even better for them, and I feel like she was happy. She looked happy when she left. So that's my gratification above all things. So,
and I can tell you that I do believe that she was happy.
Yeah, she would know.
It's funny because we had a very short video chat this past weekend, and I was like, oh, you're wearing your hair.
Hey.
So I was really happy about that.
Guys, from somebody coming to not even ever thinking of wearing their hair, they were only going to the salon to get it shampooed, piling more grease in it, braiding it in plaits maybe, and putting the wig back on. To me, showing them that they can wear their own hair, is actually cut in a nice style and it moves. That's unbeatable. You can't match that. Like, the movement is real. Like, seriously, that's what I pride myself on above all things. So,
you know what? So that's actually a good segue, because I want to talk about a movement.
Okay.
We are going to talk about what I prompted people to listen about, because it's 30-day hair detox. We definitely got to get to that. But I also want to talk about the movement, because there are some things that we really need to do as scientists, dermatologists, hair practitioners. We all need to get together, because the state of hair today is just, it's not rising in terms of going in the positive direction.
No.
People are having more problems with their hair now than ever before, and I want to talk about that and the need for a movement for all of us to work together. So with that as a little tease, we will take our 10-minute break, but we will be back. And I love Earth, Wind, and Fire. So last time I had a little Stevie Wonder. This time we're going to have Earth, Wind, and Fire. But on the other side, we'll talk a little bit about a movement that really needs to be done, because the state of the hair is at an all-time low. So with that, I'll see you in about 10 minutes. Hello. We'll be back.
We'll be back.